you guys, welcome to the start of another weekly reading vlog. This reading vlog is going to be pretty interesting because I purposefully chose 3 books that have gotten a lot of hype, a lot of popularity in the online book community, and I would say probably the last year. So I'm going to be reading 3 books this week and sharing my thoughts with you guys, and we'll see if I actually think they're that good. So first up on the list, we have Mexican Gothic by Sylvia Moreno-Garcia. I read my first book by this author a couple of weeks ago called The Beautiful Ones. Absolutely loved it, and I was gonna wait to read this till the fall, but couldn't practice enough patience there. So we're gonna go ahead and tackle this one this week. This has received a lot of praise. This was the 2022 Goodreads Choice Awards winner for, I believe, the horror category, which is absolutely wild to me. The Beautiful Ones was a Regency romance, so the range on this author is just incredible. This is an adult mystery horror novel. It's the story of a debutante named Noemi. She is sent off to go check on her cousin who was recently married off and went to go live with her new husband in this faraway house on this property that his family has owned for generations. The thing is, her cousin does not seem well. Ever since she moved away, she's been absent, but then she recently started sending letters, completely anxious, hallucinating. She's listless. Noemi's family is very concerned, so they send Noemi to check on the situation. And apparently from there, things get really creepy and twisted. Next up on the list, we have a book that is very hyped up right now in the online book community. I hear people talking about it everywhere, and that would be Rebecca Yarros's Fourth Wing. This is the first book in a romantasy series, adult romantasy series. It takes place in an empire that is currently at war. We are following a character named Violet, who was originally intended to work in the scribe quadrant of the military, bookkeeping and recording history as it was unfurling. However, because her mother is a famous general within the military and because her family has a long line of dragon riders, she is forced to join this dragon riding military school. Students are very competitive, they're very cutthroat, and there apparently is a lot of political intrigue in this book as well. Possibly corruption within the military, which sounds very interesting to me. There is also a very steamy romance in this that has such a grip on everyone in the online book community right now. Yes, thoughts and prayers are much appreciated. And finally, the third book that I'm hoping to get through this week is going to be Tomorrow, Tomorrow, and Tomorrow by Gabrielle Zevin. It is an adult contemporary fiction / romance novel. We follow 2 very intelligent people. I believe they were childhood friends. They go through college. They design a video game together that is highly successful. And we follow them throughout their lives over the course of about 30 years. And I think they're in love. I don't know if they ever actually get together. Supposedly, this is a very unique love story. I am a little hesitant with this one just because contemporary romances, I'm not typically a fan of. There are some contemporary romances out there that I do like. I just tend to be very picky, so most of the time I get bored very quickly. So I'm a little nervous about this one, but it has won so many awards and has gotten so much praise that I can't not at least give it the old college try. So that is what we're gonna do, and welcome to the start of the reading vlog. Let's get the ball rolling, shall we? First things first though, I need to unpack and repack. I flew in last night from San Diego. I actually went to San Diego Comic-Con for the first time in my life. It was like a bucket list item thing. It was so much fun. So yeah, I just flew back and then I immediately went into work today. So I still have to unpack my suitcase and all of the stuff I brought. And then tomorrow morning I'm going to the gym really early before work. And I'm driving around for work, so I got to repack all of those bags. I have like 5 bags, you guys. It's I'm just constantly switching bags. I feel like that it makes up the majority of my life. So I'm actually going to turn on the audiobook for Mexican Gothic and continue to read that way. Audiobooks literally save my life, you guys. And then hopefully I can give you guys a reading update tonight. Okay, so cute stuff I got at San Diego Comic-Con. Well, as you can see, my carry-on roller bag and then just my backpack, that's all I brought with me. They're very small, so I did not plan properly, and so I had very little space to work with, so I couldn't buy a whole lot. Now, if I go next year, I will know better, but nevertheless, I did make some purchases, rest assured. I did buy my dad a limited edition Star Wars Lego set because he loves Star Wars Legos. He likes to collect those, so I got that for him. And then here's some of the things I got. So I grabbed some stickers. This is No Face Coffee, which I thought was cute, from Spirited Away. On the second day, I was dressed up as Historia from Attack on Titan. I am an anime fan, you guys, if you couldn't tell already. And the guy liked my outfit a lot, so he gave me a free Attack on Titan sticker, which was really cool. I also really like to get art prints to hang up in my living room. So this is from Haikyuu, the volleyball manga and anime. This is Daichi the captain, who's one of my favorite characters. And then this is, of course, a Pokemon art print, and it incorporates fruit and any kind of mashup with anime characters, or really any kind of pop culture, and then food. There's a food element to it. Because I'm a dietitian, I just eat that stuff up, you guys, and I always buy it. Really gorgeous, amazing artwork. People are so talented at these conventions. And then, of course, I had to get books too. I did meet Holly Black, which was very exciting. In terms of books, if you can believe it, I grabbed another Sylvia Moreno Garcia book. This is Velvet Was the Night. This is a mystery thriller novel, I think, a noir novel. So heard good things about that one. And then this was just given to me for free. This is a manga sampler. So it's just a collection of, gosh, maybe first installments of, I think, 8 or so different mangas. I just took it when the guy gave it to me. This was also a free book handed to me. This is The Night Housekeeper. This looks like a Halloween middle grade book. And then I met a couple of other authors. Wesley Chu, I saw him on a panel along with TJ Klune. I've read a book or two from TJ Klune, but nothing from Wesley Chu. So I saw this at one of the tables. It's a signed copy, which is pretty cool. I don't have a lot of signed copies, so I thought I'd go ahead and support him, grab this book. It sounded really interesting, and it has really good ratings on Goodreads. So, and then I also grabbed The Ebony Gate. This is a new book that recently just came out. Went ahead and grabbed it, and hopefully I can do a book haul video for you guys here soon, and I can talk a little bit more about the plots of these books, as well as some other book purchases I've recently made. But that is going to do it for Comic-Con purchases, and yeah, it is time to unpack. Hi you guys, I am gonna do my first update for this reading vlog. I am on page 109 of Mexican Gothic. I am about 37% of the way through the book according to my audiobook. I did get to read a little bit more from the physical copy. Thus far, I wouldn't necessarily call it a horror novel, but it is definitely very spooky and creepy. Sylvia Moreno Garcia, I continue to absolutely love her writing. It is simple in a way that it's very accessible, and yet it is so beautiful and descriptive at the same time. One of the really creepy aspects of this book, an interesting concept and themes that she's exploring, this family that lives at the High Place, that's the name of the house that Noemi goes to visit her sick cousin at. They believe in eugenics, or practice eugenics. This is a set of practices and beliefs that is centered around creating a superior human race. So they like to classify people as superior or inferior based off of certain genes or qualities that they have. Quite a gateway to something really spooky and sinister going on. Though as the readers at this point, we don't entirely know the full story there. And the house is like your classic creepy Gothic home with mold growing on the wallpaper, on paintings, and yet this family continues to live in this house. So I just picture almost like Tim Burton characters, this family that Noemi is staying with. So far so good. She is starting to have some creepy nightmares that are starting to freak me out a little bit as the reader. And yeah, I don't know. We will see what happens next. I cannot predict at all where this is going, which is kind of fun. So yeah, we will see. I'm gonna head to bed now though. I am tired, and I will update you guys tomorrow. Guys, I just finished my TV show for the night. I have started Chainsaw Man. I watched a couple of episodes over the weekend at Comic-Con, and wow is all I gotta say. Pretty violent TV show, very a little ridiculous at times, but I can see why people like it a lot. There was so much merch for sale, so I was really intrigued and wanted to check it out. And I really badly wanted to get a Crunchyroll subscription. It's about $8 a month, so not too bad. So I just got that today, and I've just been perusing their website and looking at what they have. There was this kid who came up to us at Comic-Con and was asking if we knew where a certain stuffed animal was at one of the booths for this show. And now, having watched 3 episodes, I'm very concerned for this child. Like, where are his parents? Who would ever permit their child to watch something like this? But anyways, yeah, Chainsaw Man. Here we go. So I just have a couple more things that I need to get done on my computer, some personal tasks, and then I'll go ahead and make myself a nice hot cup of sleepy time tea and read some Mexican Gothic and give you guys another reading update. Hi you guys, I am officially 2/3 of the way through Mexican Gothic. This book continues to confound me, but also really interests me and makes me want to keep turning the page because I could just not figure out what the mystery is here. I have no idea how this is going to end, and I still don't really understand what is the monster or antagonist. Who is the antagonist here in this book? Couldn't tell ya. So Noemi goes to High Place. She is trying to figure out what is going on with her cousin. She sees Catalina, and her cousin seems okay for the most part, but randomly her cousin will have these sporadic, very serious moments where she is very freaked out or anxious, or she says these very weird, cryptic, creepy things. She recently started having seizures, which is new, and everyone in the family is not too concerned. They just think that because she is suffering from tuberculosis, these bouts of anxiety and depression, things that she has struggled with in her past, they are just coming to the forefront because she is really sick. And no doctor really seems to be that concerned either. And the family prefers to use one specific doctor in particular and doesn't really like to refer out to any other specialists, which is very concerning and frustrating, needless to say. The family crest involves a snake eating itself, and there's a lot of snake imagery throughout this book. There's also a lot of fungi and mold and mushrooms growing both around the house and in the house. And as Noemi tries to figure out whether she is actually being haunted by ghosts or if everybody is suffering from lead poisoning in the wallpaper, one thing they haven't touched on that I think might actually be the case here is that everyone is just suffering from mold poisoning. And then meanwhile, you got the old grandfather or the great uncle who is in pain, and he moans throughout the night just to add more of a creepy ambiance to this house, as if the mold and the creepy family members didn't do that enough. And at about the 25% mark of this book, Noemi starts to have nightmares, and they are very weird and hard to decipher, especially as I'm listening to this on audiobook while I'm driving around during the day. I literally have to rewind the audiobook sometimes because I'm so confused about what I'm listening to. There is a lot of imagery, symbolism, and I'm sure foreshadowing and flashbacking going on. Thing is, now at the 2/3 mark, these nightmares are starting to get more and more aggressive. Noemi is starting to sleepwalk and find herself in very odd parts of the house late at night. She is going into other family members' rooms for some reason. And to make matters even worse, these nightmares are starting to become part of her daytime hours. So she'll start hallucinating at like 10 in the morning. She'll start to see the mold growing on the wallpaper, and it beckons her closer, and she can hear buzzing in the walls. Like the walls are full of bees. I mean, the book really succeeds in being absolutely creepy and confusing, and I think that confusion is what makes it so terrifying and off-putting and just a little uneasy as you're sitting here late at night reading the book. My goal is to finish this book by the end of the day tomorrow, and so I'll let you guys know my final thoughts and how I feel about the ending, because at the 2/3 mark it continues to elude me, so we shall see. Hi you guys, I am in bed, and I have been in bed for quite some time. It was one of those days where I come home from work and I just want to immediately get in my pajamas, put on new bed sheets, and crawl into bed at like 5:30 p.m. So needless to say, a pretty solid evening, but I was productive and I finished Mexican Gothic, so I wanted to share my final thoughts with you guys. I can see why people really like this book. I understand the hype, and I can see why it won an award for horror. If you like Gothic tropes, you're gonna really like this book. So things like a giant big house, charming, tall, dark, charming, and weird, creepy men, and large families that have secrets. If you like all that stuff, you're probably gonna like this book. Another thing I liked about this novel too is that while it is truly entertaining through and through, I also learned a little bit along the way, and I always appreciate that. When it comes to novels, first and foremost, I just want the book to entertain me. That's top priority. But if I can also learn something new along the way about a certain topic that I don't know a lot about, I always appreciate that, and that's always a nice little cherry on top when it comes to reading for fun. It was neat to get a quick glimpse at post-colonialism in Mexico, learn a little bit about Britain's presence in Mexico while it was mining for silver, and also another topic that I just did not know a whole lot about was eugenics, and this idea of there being a superior human race and classifying people based off of certain qualities they have and whether these qualities are superior or inferior. It was interesting to learn a little bit about that. I was doing some research on it while I was reading this book because I just wanted to learn more. And then to see that concept and have it placed in a horror novel and how it turns to just really awful thoughts and actions, inbreeding going on, cousins marrying cousins. It was weird. It really added to the book, and then I also learned something along the way. So there's also really weird romantic tension in this book, which for me especially made it a page turner, or at least me trying to figure out if this even really was a romance. It was creepy and weird and twisted, and I found that to be something that was really a really gripping quality about this novel. I don't want to spoil anything or say much more than that, because truly one of the best ways to go into a horror novel like this is to not know a whole lot. So I'm just gonna leave it at that. Now we are gonna head over to the second book on my list, which is going to be Fourth Wing, and I actually already started it. I was listening to the audiobook and I've been reading a little bit of it here in bed, but I'm gonna hold off on giving any updates. I want to get about a third of the way through before I share my thoughts. I'm trying to do that with my books. I split my updates up into threes, so a third, 2/3 of the way through, and when I finish. So, and we will go from there. So yeah, solid night.
국방부 시대보다 더 더디게 흐른다는 쌍둥이 돌보기가 시작되었습니다.
Welcome to the part of the vlog where I do laundry and give you guys a reading update. So I am 1/3 of the way through Fourth Wing, and it's kind of hard to comment on my thoughts because I feel like we're still on the surface level. I feel like the book really hasn't picked up yet. It does start off flinging you right into the action. We are following a girl named Violet, and she was supposed to be in the scribe quadrant of her empire's military. Her empire is currently at war, but because her mom is a famous general in the military and she comes from a long line of dragon riders, very successful, powerful, ruthless dragon riders, Violet is pressured into instead joining the dragon rider quadrant of the military. But first she has to go through dragon rider school, and it's highly competitive. There are more interested dragon riders than there are available dragons, so it's a very competitive school, but it's also quite deadly, and they are not afraid to kill people off in this school. Like the first chapter, we are inserted into the first trial, and essentially if you are interested in attending this dragon rider school, you have to cross this very narrow parapet or bridge that has no handrails on the side. It's very easy to fall off. You have to cross this bridge with just the pack on your back, in awful weather with wind and rain, and you have to make it across to the other side to this dragon school. Now, it's very easy to fall off, and other competitors can push you off if they want to. And if you fall to your death into the ravine below. Just kind of continues from there, all of the trials. This school truly does not care about its students. It will have students do hand-to-hand combat, and if one student accidentally kills off another student, the teachers, they don't care, they let it go. There might be a chance even when you become a dragon rider that you may die in your classes. A professor might choose to off you. It's really fair game. Anything goes. The only thing that you can't do in this school is you cannot kill a fellow student while they are sleeping. So you're safe so long as you're sleeping. I don't have a military background, so I may be totally wrong here. You know, I'm no military strategist. I don't know if I've ever worked in the military, but it just seems like if you are in an empire and you are currently at war, you probably need all of the men and women that you can possibly get your hands on. And it just seems like careless military strategy to be so willing to kill off all of these young, able-bodied people. I mean, these are some of the most talented young people in your empire that are trying to become dragon riders, and they are so expendable to you. You're just like so willing to kill them off. And don't get me wrong, it does make for a very high stakes read, and it makes the read that much more interesting, and you're always worried if a new character that you like is going to get killed off. But I'm just saying, it stuck out to me so much when I was reading this book, how weird of a military strategy that was. Like, you kill off, I think they were saying in the book, 60% of the first years, and then they might get killed off as second years or third years. I mean, before they even leave the school. And I just feel like that is a waste of resources. But I digress. Throughout the first third of this book, Violet is just trying to get through her classes, trying to get through the gauntlet, trying to bond with the dragon, and she's also trying to manage her relationships with other people in her training squad. She has like a longtime childhood best friend who is a little overprotective and looking out for her, and it's like kind of weird romance between the two of them, but I have a feeling that she's outgrown him. And then of course we have the intended romantic male lead. His name is Xaden, and of course he's a third year, so he's an older man, and he is very dark and brooding, and Violet and Xaden cannot like each other or be anywhere near each other because their families do not get along and hate one another. But of course there is some kind of weird tension going on between the two of them. Why he likes her, I don't really know yet. Again, I just don't know him a lot as a character, and everything, like I said, is very surface level right now. Violet also has made some friends along the way, but I feel like we haven't gotten like really, deep emotional character relationship scenes yet between anybody, so I just haven't really bonded with any of the characters yet, I guess you could say, but I do really like the concept. I also really like that part of Violet's character, her backstory. They don't go into it too much in the beginning of the book, but I think she was born with some sort of chronic illness. I like seeing chronic illness representation in books, just because it's something I can relate to personally. Yeah, so we'll just see. But so far so good. I'm just still curious, and we'll see where this takes us. But for now, I am going to put this laundry away. I'm gonna head to bed. Tomorrow is Friday, which I am excited about. I am working Saturday though, so it's not really Friday, but I don't know, for some reason when you work on the weekends, you're still at work, but it's a little bit of a more chill vibe because, it's the weekend. So anyways, this vlog is nothing but a series of me giving reading updates from my bed at night after a work day. But really, that is the reality of life sometimes, no? So, hi guys, it's Friday night, and yeah, reading update wise, I have gotten pretty far in Fourth Wing, and I read past the halfway mark. The book reads so fast, so it is meant to be like a book that you can binge really quickly. So that has been really enjoyable. It's been something you can really read really quickly. You don't have to focus that hard, especially on audiobook. You can really zoom through it. I have thoughts. So I don't know. I was starting with the prose, like, I continue to really love the concept of this book. I love the idea of a dragon rider school, and I like the military background. I love the idea that these riders, they possess powers based off of the bond that they create with their dragon, and then their dragon's powers fuse with their own, and through this rider's personality, some unique power or ability manifests. Some people can control metal, other people can use telepathy, fire, ice, shadows, you name it. And I think that is such a cool concept. And I also really love books that have a very large ensemble cast. And I would say that's definitely the case in Fourth Wing as well. I love all of the different students and friends of Violet. That is just something that I always really enjoy in books. But the one thing I'm really struggling with, and I don't know if other people have, if it really stuck out to other people when they were reading this book, but for me, it's like the world building just continues to be like a little frustrating. I still feel like we haven't gotten an idea of what is happening in the military, what is happening in the world outside of the school. I don't know. There's something about this book that is like frustrating to me. I think it's because I just want so much more. There's so much opportunity there. Also in the relationships, there's so much opportunity for such complex, like juicy relationships between Violet and her friends and her enemies in school, and also just the romance between her and Xaden. Like there's so much you could do there, but I'm just not getting it. So I don't know. I still have to finish the book, so it could really, you know, have a great ending to it. So I'm not completely discounting it. And there are really strong points in it. Again, like the concept of it, the setting. There's so much opportunity potential there, but I am just feeling a little bit starved as a reader for like more depth. And if anything, maybe I'm just learning a little bit more about myself as a reader. I typically read fantasy books, and as I said at the beginning of this vlog, I have a really hard time actually reading contemporary romance. I know that is a very big genre, and it definitely has a presence in the online book community, but I've always struggled with contemporary romances. While I do have some that I like, the vast majority of them I have a hard time sticking to. I tend to get bored easily, and you know, maybe I'm just not a romance gal. I appreciate romance, but it's really hard for me when romance is like the leading sell for a book. And I thought I would really like romantasy, and I do. There are parts of romantasy I really like I just read Serpent and the Wings of Night, the first book in the, The Crown of Nyaxia series by Carissa Broadbent, and I liked that book, but I did feel like the world building was stronger and really more, just more built out than this book, than Fourth Wing. That being said, I know that the author for Fourth Wing is planning to turn this into a multi-book series, so there is a lot of potential there for the world to get built out then in future books. But it almost feels like it's flip-flopped, where the world building, I think in the first book you should really take the time to work on and let the romance and the relationship blossom in future books. Whereas in Fourth Wing, I feel like with the romance, we have jumped so quickly through the romantic tension, and this relationship has developed so quickly, at least in my mind. And I don't feel like there's enough build-up. Like, I don't know why they like each other. I don't know why the male interest is so interested in Violet. It seems more like they're in lust with one another than actually in love with one another. I mean, by no means are they in love with one another. It's all just lustful tension, you know? And I feel like we have just we jump so far in their relationship in the first book when really we could just drag it out and have it be such a slow burn throughout the series, and then let's really establish the world building in the first book. But it's almost flip-flopped in Fourth Wing. I don't know. It's just a personal preference thing. And like I said, it might just be that, you know, romantasy and the romance genre just isn't my first choice. And that is totally fine. So I don't know. Also, I don't know if other people who have read this book felt this way, but the role that the dragons play in the romantic relationship between Violet and Xaden, it's just like kind of weird. I don't know. Did anyone else? And then there's also this kind of element in the book where people are able to read each other's minds and telepathically communicate with one another. That's also weird. I don't know. I might not be a romantasy girly, you guys. And I'm upset and I'm bummed because I know how much, like how many people love this book. So, but I need to take a break from reading. It's currently Friday night. I am working tomorrow, a Saturday event. So I'm just gonna take it easy, and I'm far enough along in Fourth Wing. I think I can take a break this evening. So I finished Chainsaw Man. Blew through the first season, and I have just started Jujutsu Kaisen, which is a very popular anime right now. So yeah, that's the plan for this Friday evening, and I'm just gonna chill, head to bed at a somewhat reasonable time, and I'll hopefully finish Fourth Wing tomorrow, maybe, probably, we'll see, but I don't know. I'll let you guys know, but ooh, I don't know. Guys, so I made a purchase. It is like still 100 degrees outside and it is no weather to be wearing a sweatshirt in, but I made a purchase at San Diego Comic-Con that finally came in. This sweatshirt that I bought from a really cute store, I'll go ahead and link it down below and show you guys if you want to check their merch out, but super cute pink sweatshirt with a little rose on the front, and the back, which is my favorite, back, there's a little bunny that says ew. It's the simple pleasures in life. That little retail therapy, you know what I mean? Hi you guys, it has been a couple of days since my last reading update. I have not done the best at vlogging this time around. That being said, I did finish Fourth Wing. You guys, I have such mixed feelings and opinions on this book. It just didn't grasp me and really suck me in like it has done for so many other readers in the online book community. I mean, this book has gotten so much hype to the point where you couldn't even get a physical copy because everyone had bought every book in every bookstore. And I just wasn't really feeling it, and so it was definitely frustrating for a while. And I think a lot of that is just because when it comes to romantasy and romance novels, but romantasy, I'm just really picky. And I think that's because the world building, the magic system, political intrigue, the cleverness, the wittiness, depths of relationships, those are the things that I really value and really look for when it comes to selecting fantasy books that are my favorites, books that I really enjoy. And when it comes to romantasy, oftentimes some of those elements can take a backseat or second priority because the romance comes first and foremost. And for some people, romance is the name of the game. They want that to be the number one thing at the top of the list when reading a book. And for me, I do love a good romance. I love when romance is in books, but I kind of want it to be a second priority. I hadn't really bought in yet into the world or this military academy, nor had I really had enough time with the characters or felt like I'd seen enough scenes or had enough experiences with them to really feel the depths of their relationship. So therefore, I was not very invested in the relationships, both the platonic ones as well as the big romantic one in this story. Like, I could not figure out why these two characters were so attracted to each other than it just being lust. And yet they're dropping the L word with one another, saying they love each other. And as a reader, I couldn't buy it because I just hadn't had enough time with them. And for me, as a personal preference taste, I would have loved to have this be a slow burn romance that gets dragged out across the books. For me, it just felt like it moved too fast. In the same way, some of Violet's friendships, I felt like moved too fast. Too much happened off screen, I guess is what I'm saying, in order for me to really buy in and believe these relationships and therefore really feel the impact of them and feel the impact of this book. But that being said, in the last 25% of this book, things started to pick up. And all of a sudden I was like, whoa, I think I will pick up the second book because that political intrigue, that excitement, that world building, it all started to come to the forefront of this book. And I really enjoyed the twist at the end. So it intrigued me and so it grabbed me at the end. I'm just so glad that I kept reading and I didn't DNF it. You know, I'd probably give it like a 3 stars. I liked it. I didn't love it though. It didn't hit me the same way that I feel like it's hit so many other people. But that's okay. I feel like a lot of it came down to personal preference. Those are my thoughts on Fourth Wing. There you go, guys. So this reading vlog's almost done. I am gonna start Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow by Gabrielle Zevin. We'll see how far I get in the next few days. And then wherever I end up is where I end up, and we'll wrap up the vlog. But woo, we got through Fourth Wing. Go team. Hi you guys, welcome to the end of the reading vlog. I do want to take some time though to really talk about Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow by Gabrielle Zevin. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to finish this book for this reading vlog, but I am at the 75% mark, so I do feel like I can really speak to my opinions and my feelings surrounding this book. As a quick synopsis, this is an adult literary fiction novel. It has received a lot of praise and hype in the last year. It was the 2022 Goodreads Choice Award winner for the literary fiction category. And it also was the book of the year for the book of the month subscription service. So a lot of hype around this book. Now in this novel, we are following primarily two characters, Sadie and Sam, and the two of them meet as children in the arcade room of a hospital. Now Sam is in the hospital because he just was involved in a devastating car accident that caused irreparable damage to his leg. Meanwhile, Sadie is in the hospital because her sister is chronically ill. And the two of them meet in the arcade room. They begin playing video games together, and we find out that Sam has not spoken a single word since the car accident. Not to the hospital staff, not to his family, and yet with Sadie over video games and Donkey Kong and Super Mario Bros, he finally starts to have conversation again. And the adults take notice of this, and they really play a hand in ensuring the friendship between these two children. Now, as teenagers, Sadie and Sam drift apart, but they reconnect again in college, and over the summer they decide to develop a video game. And then from there, over the course of like 30 years, we just watch as their friendship evolves, as their professional lives evolve, as this video game that they created in college becomes an overnight success. So as I said at the beginning of this vlog, I was a little worried about this novel because it has a lot of ingredients that I typically don't like as a reader, just not my personal taste. For one, I at first thought this was a contemporary romance novel, and that made me a little bit nervous just because, like I said, I am very picky, and if it's not the right formula, if the planets do not align just right, I tend to get really bored with contemporary romances. Thing is, this is not a contemporary romance. This is more so a contemporary friendship novel. This is a literary fiction novel through and through, and there may be some romance elements to the story, but it is not a romance story whatsoever between Sam and Sadie. They are truly two friends, two business partners, and throughout the novel, you feel that romantic tension between them, and it's kind of this will they, won't they, but that's not what the book is about, let's just say. Secondly, this book does jump around a lot timeline-wise, and I don't typically like that as a reader. I like my stories to be quite linear, and this story spans 30 years, but we also get a lot of flashbacks. We have multiple POVs, different perspectives from different events in time, just a lot of jumping around. It's just something like personal taste. I don't tend to like that in my novels. And then thirdly, there is no plot in this book. It truly is an exploration of characters, an exploration of relationships between characters, and that's it. I feel like for some readers, this book can definitely feel like it's meandering, like there's no structure or direction to it, that you're just kind of floating through time and space, and I could see where some readers who really value plot, you're gonna reach the end of this novel and feel like, what was the point? The point is to get insight really into the human experience when it comes to relationships and friendships on the professional, platonic, romantic level, to look at the evolution of our friendships over time, and really just character studies. I mean, you're following two characters as well as a cast of some other characters that pop in as supporting roles. And I think that's gonna be really the deciding factor whether you like this book or not. How interested are you in the characters? You have to be invested. You have to find them to be interesting. You have to care about them, because if you don't have any interest in these two characters, you're gonna be in trouble. I don't know if you'll make it all the way through this book. If you are trying to get into literary fiction and you don't know which books to pick up, I would definitely put this in like the top 5 first books to check out. For me personally, I tend to get really intimidated with this genre of literary fiction. I'm always hesitant to pick up these kinds of books just because I'm worried that I won't get it, like the point of the novel, or that I might lose interest in it. this is a good one to start with. I would put it in my top 5 if you are very interested in getting into this genre. And yeah, could see why it won awards. It's going to be important that you're interested in the characters. Don't expect too much of a plot. More so, this is an exploration of the human experience and relationships between characters. Okay, you guys, that is going to do it for this reading vlog. If you are interested in checking out more of my reading vlogs or my reading recommendation videos, I'm going to go ahead and link a playlist for you guys to check out up above and down below if you want to keep watching. Otherwise, thank you so much, and I will see you in the next one.